for Sage 100 Contractor clients who need custom reports. Today we're going to select a topic and create a report online right in front of your eyes. So let's get started. All right. Today we are going to create a report on pay groups. This seems to be something that people need and don't often have because Sage doesn't do it exactly this way. So we're going to start by opening up our report in the 13.3 menu. Create a new report using the wizard. No, thank you. Start with a blank report. We'll do that. Okay, so we're going to call this, I'm going to start it with RWG because that's our group initials, report writer group, then a dash, and this is going to be employee dash pay group report. And then I'm going to do the tilde to give it a subtitle. And we're going to say just going to go dash 1A for now. We're going to change that later. Okay, now that we have a title, we're going to go give it a report form. We can do this. We can click the down arrow and display system reports, which is what we're going to do this time. And so in searching for reports, if we get this column alphabetical, then we can scroll down to system, system.report. I don't think we're going to need landscape for this, so we'll go ahead and just do system.report. This is a standard report form in Sage. So we're going to double click that, and that plops in there. We'll talk about these later, but right now we're going to go for a primary table. Now, the choice of a primary table, and I've mentioned this before, is crucial to get the data you want. In this case, it's not too bad to determine since all the data is in time cards and not in the header or the footer, which is the time card table, but the time card lines table has the data that we are looking for. And so let's see if we can find time card lines. Time card lines, okay. That's what we're looking for. So we're going to click that. Once you've clicked that in here, you cannot change it. If you want to change it, you have to start all over. So it's good to make a good choice in the beginning. So we're going to just save this. So I'm going to copy this. It's going to be saved in the 13.4 menu. And I'm going to Control C to copy. Save the current report. And it's clicked in here. And Control V. And you can do them as shared. I always do them as private. We'll talk about the difference later. Okay, now let me go to 13.4. That's where it's going to be located. And you'll be able to see that it'll be there. Okay. So we've got a couple RWGs. Oh, there it is right here. I have something similar in there, but it's a different sort. Okay, so the first thing I always do is open it up through Modify Report and make it a B. That way I have the original in there. And if I make changes and it doesn't like this one, then it blows this one out, but keeps the original, even though the original has nothing on it. At least I wouldn't have to redo all of this part. So I'm going to save that and click as private and save. Now, if I close this, you'll see that that'll plop in there as a B. Oh, one other thing I need to do too is there's the B. I'm going to come up here to defaults and save as default report so that if this closes out and I reopen it, it'll go down to this particular report, so that if I'm working on it over and over, I don't have to go find it every time. Okay, now we don't have any selection criteria. We don't have anything on the modify report yet, and that's what we're going to get started. So we are in the table time card lines. Now let's do some grouping. One thing I like to do sometimes is to, just so I have it ready, is to do grouping. And I find that I don't usually need all of these. If you do it in the same order as they're listed here, you'll be in good shape. And I always put a bunch of no prints in the bottom. That's kind of storage. Okay, so I've got groups 1, 2, 3, detail, subtotal 3, 2, 1, and total. Briefly, the structure of this is required this way. Now, you don't have to use anyone in particular. You don't have to use a group 2 or a 3 or even a group 1. But if you use them, they need to be in this order. Now, why 3, 2, 1? Well, on the screen, you've got a group 3 with detail, and then that detail for group 3 needs to be totaled. And so that's why this is 1, 2, 3, and this is 3, 2, 1. Subtotal 3 is totaling the detail for this one, for group 3. Subtotal 2 will then detail subtotal the detail, including group 3, for group 2. And that's why it's structured this way. Okay, so we've got groupings to settle here. We're going to go up to the AZ down arrow icon, which brings in the groupings. Actually, they'll show here, but these are the things to choose from. Let me make this bigger, and we'll go time card lines. Okay, the first thing we want is employee. Okay, now you'll see that there is not employee in the time card line table, but payroll records will have that. Now you'll want to stay with the employee in payroll records rather than the employee in employees, because it's the employee that is in payroll records that is what we're searching for. So we'll put employee and always use just the number, the employee number, or the job number for grouping, unless you want it to group alphabetically, and then you would use the name. So the first one is employee. Let's bring that down. So I double clicked employee. It's down here as number 1. And then pay group. We could do pay group, or we could do pay period end. Let's make it simpler this time. We'll do pay group. So let's go back up to time card lines, come down here and find pay group. There that is. Again, pay group number is the sort. And then we could either do pay period or not even that. Let's take a look here. I'm going to throw pay period in there. Let's get up here to time card lines, and there is no pay period in the time card lines. It will be in payroll records, pay period end. So let's put that in there. Now I've decided to make pay period before pay groups. And this is how you do it. You just click on there and left click and just drag it to the spot you want it. Now, group 1, group 2, group 3. Don't pay attention to this right now. So we've got our 3 groups. Well, we'll see how this works. We may end up switching these back again, or taking pay period out altogether. So let's go ahead and click OK. And now we've got employee, pay period end. And of course, you can label these any way you want. And pay group. All right. Now I want them to line up, and I want them to be fairly close to the edge. So I'm going to click on that and right click and do properties. Properties shows me what the left count is. And I am going to go and start it at 5. That way it's not quite touching the edge at 1 or 0. And the top should be 2 or 3. I'm going to go for 2. And then left is good. And bold. This should be bold. And 9 is okay for the size. So we're going to click that. And now if I click on both of these by holding the control key down, I can at least do the bold. It's already left, already 9, so we're good there. And now if I hold the control key down and click that one and say align left, they'll all line up there. Okay, now those are just the labels. Now we need to put in the fields that are there. Now here we can put in the employee number name combo. So let's go up here to insert fields and time card lines. No. Payroll records. Yes. Employee with first name, last name. Here, let's make this bigger so you can see what all is here. I want to show you all the columns because you have detail. Here's the description. Here's the name of the field, but here's the actual uh, the field name, actual field name that goes into the report. Also, if this is a little hard to find things, you can go up here to list fields alphabetically or by name. Makes it a lot easier if you're looking for something that starts with P. You can just scroll down to P. Okay. No, sorry. Anyway, we're going to, and then I'm going to, let's see, what are we adding? We are adding employee. Okay, employee with first, middle, initial, and last name. That sounds good. Okay, now we're going to go pay period end. That's going to be a date. That will also be in payroll records, period end, and pay group. Now, that will be in time card lines because that's on those lines. Now, let's take a look at the alphabetical thing. Let's go down to pay groups. Pay group. Now, with name, we will put it there with name. Okay. Now, let's click all of these with the control key down. And I'm going to just use the arrow key to get us closer. And now I'll line them up with this one. So these will match the left margin. So I'm going to right click, left adjust. And now these are all lined up. You can see if I highlight them, this line is lined up. Sometimes I like to align these right so that this is flush. But you need to be sure that they are all right adjusted to begin with. And so we can move those out a bit. But I'm going to make them back the way they were. Just wanted to show you that. Okay, so this one's about the right distance out. So I'm going to make these align left. And those are all lined up this way. These are lined up that way. And now we have some detail to put in. And so let's see what we need. We need the hours that they're working, the 3 types of hours, and a total. So let's put some labels up here. Regular, OT, premium, total. Okay, we've got a second row here. I'm going to add a heading row so I can do hours. Because sometimes you don't know whether you're talking hours or dollars. So you need to make sure it's clear. Copy, paste, paste, paste. Okay. Now these will all be right adjusted because let's see, these are numbers. So we're going to do I'm just going to hold the control key down and click on all of these. One other way you can do that, I'll click out of them, is you can go up here to the Select Multiple Objects button. I'll click that and I will do this and voila, there they are, all done. Now, I want them all to be right adjusted and now to get them right here, I need to do those up in the vertical, right, so that those are there. But I also want to make them all bold. So I hide them all and go to one of them, Properties, Bold, there. Now I just did these, right? So I'm going to do these, right, right, right. Okay, now we have plenty of space. So let's throw in some detail. Oh, we've got the employee name, the period, and the pay group. So let's look at in the time card lines. You can make that bigger, but you don't need to because you're going to stay in time card lines. Okay, so now we're going to look for oh well, that's not moving. So anyway, let's go to hours. Okay, hours. Pay rate. And so hours. Now, hours, that doesn't really tell us if they're regular, overtime, premium, or total. So we need to do a little if then else statement. Okay, so I clicked up here. That's the little calculator for calculated fields. And I'm going to click an if then else statement. And then I'm going to say, so if, then I need to put in the type, pay type. Let me make this bigger so we can see what this says. Pay type. If the pay type, time card line, pay type is equal to 1, then hours. There they are. Else, nothing. Now I have to give this a name. Okay, I always do mine because I do this for a living. And I like to be sure that my work stays my work and doesn't get easily copied. And so if I name all my formulas with my name, it makes it a lot more difficult for people to, you know, take my report, do something, and then sell it to somebody else. Okay, now the the first part often is maybe time card line up here, or ACTREC for accounts receivable. But now I just need to put in um, I'll say TYP01 because there's not going to be more than 2 digits. Actually, there's only going to be 1 digit, but this needs to have 6 characters. And then we can say regular hours. That is the description of this uh, calculated field. And we're going to save that. And we'll put that in here instead of hours on detail. Okay, so if and that's going to need to be right adjusted, aligned to the right. And now I'm going to go up here to insert fields and go down here to the list of calculated fields that we've got. And there it is. So I'm going to double click that, put that in. Then I'm going to right click and go to properties. I don't want it bold. I do want it to have 2 decimal points, no $sign right now. Right adjusted. Now 30 characters is too much. Depending on the type of volume that a client has, if it's dollars, then it's volume and they do $1 million, then you probably need to do 15 characters or 12 at the very least. But this is employee dollars. And so 10 is probably fine, probably over the top since 2 decimal points plus, the decimal itself is 3 and maybe 3 for in the hundreds. That'd be 6. So 10 gives it plenty of space. Print a 0. And we're going to come and say OK. Okay, so that has the formula in it. And we're going to, this is highlighted or clicked. Now I'm going to hold the control key down and click this and click to the right. Now it's aligned in this column. Now the rest of this is pretty easy because we've done the work for this one. Now all we have to do is change the pay type number. Regular is 1, OT is 2, premium is 3. I'll show you later where you could have found that so you know. Okay, so let's go back to the formulas. And we don't have to do all of that all over again. We can just take the 1, change this to a 2, change this to OT, and change this to 2. Now be careful when you drag your mouse down that you don't have either of the buttons partially pushed because that'll change this and eliminate what you just did. Hard to explain what that is, but you'll see it when it happens. Okay, so we're going to save 2. It's telling me that it's a new one. Do I want to save? Yes. Now while we're at it, let's just go ahead and do 3. and that's premium hours. Okay, let's do it all the way there, premium hours. And 3. Okay, so there's 3. And we'll save that. Now we just need to put those in here. So if I click in a space and go up here to insert fields, here's 2 and 3. I want number 2 here. And number 3, I can plop in there right now, and then we'll move them over. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and do properties. This is all okay. 2 digits, right? And what I do, 10? Yeah, 10. And 0, and there. Okay, properties. 2 zeros. 10. 0. Okay. Now I'm going to just move these over closer. And control, get rid of that one. Now I can move this one closer. Okay, now since this one's already highlighted, I'm going to go up here, highlight that, and align right. And come up here and align that. And now total hours. Time card lines. Now, there are also more pay types. There's vacation, sick, and a couple others. This report's really only looking and wants the total hours, including types 1, 2, and 3. And so what we need to do is go back up here to where they're already made. Let's take type 3 and say, come over here to equal to or less than 3. So that includes 1, 2, and 3. And now that would be and there's no right or wrong way to do this. So you can just make it what works for you. Hours. Okay, now we'll come down here and save and close. Now we need to put that in here. And here it is, type 1, 2, 3. We'll right click and do properties. 2 decimals, right is correct. Still 10 is going to be fine for spacing. And okay. Now we'll right click this and align right. Now that's the detail. We'll want a total too, but I've added a lot of stuff and I haven't saved it or checked it to make sure it's right. I should have done it after doing this first one. Save it, change it to C, test it. So I am going to change this to C. and it'll stay here, but you have to click the X to get it to go away. I mean, I could have continued working on it, but I want to test it. So you have to click X to get it to go away, and then you'll find it here in C. Now we haven't done any selection criteria, which we will do, but this is sample company, it's small, and so we can just go ahead and run this and see what happens. Okay, so now I don't have anything showing up for pay group. Okay, 35 pages. So I'm getting everything. If I go back to the end, okay. Now since this is by employee, it's going to show the time card info by employee first. And so it's not going to be all pay groups first, it's going to be employees. So if an employee has no pay groups, it's still going to be there. We have to fix that because we really only want the pay group information. But here you go, regular hours, total hours, regular hours, total hours, and here's the pay groups. And if I go up one, we should find the employee here. Okay, there's the employee. So now, if you want, we can just focus on employee 49 because we know we've got some data there. And we're going to clean this up a bit first and give it a total. So let's take a look. So first we need to do some selection criteria. Okay, selection criteria is the little funnel. And here's the tables and the fields in table. And down here is the selection criteria that we've chosen. None yet, but we're going to, first of all, need employee, period end. If you want to run it by check date, you can do that too. Always want to have status and type if there's a type. Let's see, what else? Oh, yes, we need to have pay group in there. So we can say basically only pay groups. Where is that? Oh, I have to go up to time card lines, right? Okay, let's do it this way. Make it easy on ourselves. There's pay group. So we can see that these are the items that are in there. Let's just take a quick run through again and see if there's anything else that we need. Date. You might want to run it by date. So we'll put a date in there. Job. Probably might want job in there. You want to run it by job. Okay, sounds good. So we're going to close. Now, I like light lines to separate the data. It just makes it easier to read and follow. So we're going to add a line. on the data row. And I'm going to take it over to 7.5 because we aren't quite finished with laying this out. But I put the line in there, and to get to the properties on lines or boxes, you do need to touch the little white arrow, select multiple objects. That way you can actually get to the properties. Okay, the line width is going to be 1, and now it's black, but I want it fainter, so I always go up to the 4th gray from the bottom. That gives it enough to see it, but not enough to say, whoa, there's a lot of lines in there. Okay, and left, I want the line to start at 1, and 720 is the width. I know that because I've been doing these a long time. So these go over to about 7.5 inches, and then nothing else shows, even if you got fields over here, something you just have to learn. But width-wise, 720 on uh, portrait. Landscape is 960. So we're going to click OK. Oh, height. Height. 18 is probably okay. Might be 17, but we have to see how it looks. A lot depends on what height these are. Let's take another look. These are all at 3. That may be okay. So we're going to just click OK. And time to go check our work again. So we're going to save as a D. Okay, so D. Now we've got these to choose from. Remember employee 49 and pay period end. Okay, so we're going to do between 0601 and 0630. Actually, small group, and I don't know what the dates were for Mr. 49. I'm going to leave that blank, but you would usually put a date range in there, either for pay period end or check date status. Now, one thing you probably know, but if you don't, this is a biggie. When you click in a field, you wonder sometimes, what does it want? Well, if you always go down here to the bottom left, it will tell you every time, all fields. That's crucial. Sometimes you have 2 items that say the same thing here. When you click on them, if you go down there, it'll tell you if it's AP or AR or whatever the differences are. But it's important to know that you can look down here and find out what this field wants. Okay, so we want less than 5. Why 5? Because 5s are voids. We don't want to include any voids. Now, pay groups. Oh, see, yeah, we got to choose pay groups. Let's try not 0. That way, only pay groups with numbers will show, which is what we want. Alrighty. So let's go up here to run the report to screen. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have saved the defaults. Okay. Now, so you have Andy, 5-1. Here's the pay group. Now we have to total those, but we haven't done that yet. Andy, different time range, but same pay group. I mean, different pay group. No, it is it is the same pay group, different pay period. So we've got them separating by pay groups. I mean, by pay period ends. Now we may not need that. Or if you want the detail, you'll still get the total down here at the end. That's right. All of these are going to be employee 49. Now this takes up a lot of space, and so we just need to clean it up a bit and make it more readable. So I'm just going to move it up here and slide it down so we can keep our eye on it. Getting a little froggy. Okay, so let's go back in to modify report, and we're on 1D right now. Actually, before you click that, it's probably good to scroll this up so you can actually see what's down here. That's as high as this will go, so at least we can still see this part. So now we'll go to modify report, and we still have these subtotals. Sometimes, when you're lucky, all you need to do to get your different subtotals is copy and paste now. We'll just test this out and see if that's going to be true here. And we can do this too while we're at it. We will bold those, and we're going to put in the subtotal names. So pay group will be here, pay period end, and then employee. But let's test this and see if that is going to work this time. So we'll go out, we'll save. We haven't changed anything. We've just copied, so I don't think I need to change it from D to E. Okay, 49. Now, last time I should have done the defaults save, so now I have to do this over again. So less than 5. At least you get to see it again. Okay, and pay group. Oh, I have to, yeah, pay groups did show up and nothing else. That was good. So not equal to 0. And now we're going to save printing defaults that way and save default report. That way, if I redo 1D again, I don't have to fill this in. So let's see what has happened with our totals. Okay, The totals seem to be working well. So we'll clean this up and make a few more additions, and I think we'll be ready to use this report. Let's go into here. So we're going to copy. I like to keep it towards the top of the row so it doesn't get into the wrong spot. Sometimes it won't show until you bring this back up into the screen here. It was below this, and so it just didn't do anything yet. But so I'm going to right adjust these. Oops. Sometimes that last one, you have to unclick it and then click it to get it to join into the grouping. Okay, just going to do these quick. Okay. Just making them all bold. And now we're going to just add in, the type of subtotal that it is. So again, group 3, subtotal 3. So pay group. Subtotal 2, group 2, pay period end. I'm just going to go PPE. And, oh, the end is already there. Yeah, total. And employee. Okay. Gonna make these bold. I'm going to align them to this group. And maybe I'll move this row out a little bit to give them separation. When I haven't aligned those yet either, so let's move these over there. And now I'm going to align all of them, right? Move those over a bit. Okay. These are fine, so I can just move these over a bit. Make sure they look about the same. 1.25, almost 1.25. That looks good. I'll go back just a hair there. There. Now, let's give some more emphasis to employee. So I'm going to put a group one around. I'm going to do this. I'm going to up and add one, change it to group one, get another group one on top, and now I'm going to make those half size. And the reason for doing that is so that I can put a box of color around them to kind of let them stick out a bit. There. Now I'll come over here and click the little white arrow, which gives me access to the properties. Okay, line width 1. Now I'm going to add some color. Blue, light blue. Top 1, right 1. Top means that the top line of this box. Left is the leftmost line. Width 20, 720 for this line, and height. Now on the boxes, 19 to 20 is about right. I'll leave it at 19. We can take a look and see. Now I click OK, and there you are. So that will pop when you have a new employee on the report. And as you're scrolling down, it'll be easier to find them. You can do it with these also. I'm not going to do it right now because you learned how to do that one. You can do that. You can underline these, easy enough, by properties. Underline. Now, these should also be bold. Okay. Now let's see where we're at. These should be bold. Maybe they are. I think they're bold already. And we may decide not to have the pay period in there. So we're going to do, just check it out. We're going to save it. Oh, yeah. Have to start by this one first. E. E. Okay. Drum roll, please. Oh, see, D has all those in there, but I have a new one, so I have to do that again. And I can change this to equals, so it doesn't do 2. Pay period end, I'm leaving that blank. Pay group. Nope. Pay group. Not 0. Status, less than 5. Okay, I'm going to save printing defaults. Save default report because it's now E instead of D. Now we're going to see what happens here. So we're getting a little bit more. Now we need a little space between the different groupings. You could put in, well, you could put in the dates here if you wanted to see them. For this report, I don't think it's needful. This is just a couple of little extra things. We're going to go in. and add. Oh, yes, we need the total. That's right, total. So bold. Left. This report is easy because you don't have to worry. Let me see, copy, about putting in different formulas for each different subtotal. You see what I'm doing? I'm just aligning the total ones with the column above it. There, okay. Now, since total is a little more prominent, I'm going to make another total row. Oh, let's take a look and see. So 1E, one E. Okay, we're going to do Andy. Here's number 49. We needed another space to separate the pay periods. A couple other things I need to show you this. Okay. I'm going to put a space, a half space under each of these subtotals to give them a little bit of separation. So I'm going to come up here and do, oh, no. First, I have to do this there. And I want it to be a 1. No, I want it to be a 3. And now a half space. Now a 2. Yeah, that's it, going to be a 2. And a half space. And for this also. No. Here. Oh, maybe I did that already. Yes, I did. Okay. So that's going to be a 1. There we go. And a half space. All right. right. I know I'll remember what I want as soon as I see it printed again. Yeah, see, that does give the space between these pay periods. Oh yes, I need to make those line up here. Those aren't. But I did that. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember one other thing. Yeah, I think I did these already. Okay. Okay. Now that you have this, this has probably more detail than you want. So we're going to save it. Now I can add a little more to the naming so we can separate these and create actually 3 different reports, starting with this one that has everything. Okay, so we are going to name this. That stays the same, but we're going to do sort imp PPE pay group. Okay. Now since I've done that, I need to bring this to the end and copy the whole thing, and I'll make this a F. Control C to copy. Control V to paste. That one doesn't go all the way over sometimes, but it's still there. Okay. Now we're going to eliminate the PPE. So let's do this. Go back and get rid of that. And I don't have PPE on this, so that's good. Take it to the end and do it a G. And Control C to copy. Control V to paste. Now, all we need to do is no print that group and no print that subtotal. Okay. So let's take a look at FG. So there's everything. Oh, I didn't put in the details here. Let's do that. 49. Less than 5. A group. Save. Okay, this is the same that we have. Okay. Now we're going to look at the one without the pay period. $49 less than 5, not 0. Save. Okay. Now you'll see a difference. And so basically it gives you the employee and the pay group and the total. Next thing, we're going to get rid of these so that it's a really concise report. Okay, so that's that. Okay. I'm going to change this one to H. Now it's going to have the same sorting, but I am going to no print the detail row. You'll see the dramatic difference in size of the report. Now it's the same number, but I've given it a different letter so we can see the difference, and we have both available. Okay, I can just run that again, and it's all ready. And this is really the goal. So employee, pay group total. So you have the pay group totals and the employee total at the end. Now we could give a line across there for those. We can make that prettier, but this is the nuts and bolts of it. So here you are on less than one page. We finally got there. I think we're doing good. All that said, I think it's time to say we've done a good job here, and we're going to close out this one. So I'm going to stop sharing. And thank you for being with me and watching. Wow.
Wow, that was an hour.
Good morning there. This is Jim Schuett, and I'm a report writer for Sage 100 Contractor clients who need custom reports. Today we're going to select a topic and create a report online right in front of your eyes. So let's get started.